Welcome back to Desk Careers. I'm so excited to bring an incredible couple to our conversation. Today we're going to be talking about the journey of entrepreneurs, being a wife, a mother, a husband, a father, and going into family ventures with Alessandra and Chris Layton. If you're watching this as a fresh graduate of our 13.5 project, I really want you to digest the conversation we're about to have, because I hope that you'll be inspired to learn that what you plan to do after graduation may become the journey of the next chapter, and that you might not know what exactly it is you want to do. And today's conversation is going to teach you how life can take you on different pathways, and just to be open to the opportunities that lay ahead. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, Alessandra. I'm so happy to have you both with me today.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, yes.
So I love that we're going to be talking about both your journeys and the journey of being on this family venture together, because it's the first conversation I bring to Desk Careers where I have a couple who work independently but also work together on their projects. So before we begin, I thought maybe we can just touch on individually what you've been up to in your career paths so far. Let's start with Alessandra. Take us on your journey from when you graduated high school, where you thought you would be, and then take us on that journey to where you are right now.
Yes, I studied nutrition in university, and then I worked like for 1 year in Brazil, and then I decided I wanted to live abroad. And then I went to Ireland, Dublin, and that's when everything went different from what I imagined. So I did the interview and I went to live in Qatar. I worked as a cabin crew for Qatar Airways. And then since then, I've just moved to England after that. And then I did some retail jobs in the luxury sector, like Buckingham Palace, Harvey Nichols in London. And then since then, I've I had children, so I stopped work a little bit. And now last year we decided to move to Dubai, and we started our business here. And with Chris and I together.
What a journey from nutrition to business in Dubai, from the original destination of Brazil. Thank you, Alessandra. Chris, I know you have a slightly different story to tell. Take us back to your secondary years and where life has taken you this far.
Yes, yeah. I mean, firstly, just saying I'm still in awe of the way Alessandra describes this, as though it's just perfectly normal to wake up in Brazil one day and then think, I'll go and live in Ireland, and then I'll go and live in Qatar. But I think that ties into the true story here of taking control of your life, not just your career. I mean, I went back, looking back in retrospect, I followed my heart primarily through school. I was always into physics and maths, and I just enjoyed it. It just made sense. Naturally went to university to do mechanical engineering without a massive amount of thought involved, to be fair. I never really looked forward to think, well, I want to work in that sector. It was just, this is in me. I'm going to do what I believe and I enjoy. And it was only really when we came to the placement year at university, so I did a sandwich course, a year in industry, that I really had the first decision to make. And most of the cohort I was on were following the engineering side, so going into heavy industry, working in the airline repair space or in power generation, etc. And it was then it dawned on me that I really don't want to do that. I actually really like people, and the thought of being surrounded by engineers was quite terrifying. So I found a placement in a commercial organization. I actually joined Xerox, the copy printing business, who wanted engineers, but in a commercial organization. And what's more, an American commercial organization. So very gregarious, very outgoing, but most importantly, customer-centric. And I absolutely loved it. And that turned what I thought was my career path at the time on its head. For the first time in my life, I started thinking about what's important to me in an organization and where I want to be. What sort of culture do I want to be? What sort of people do I want to work with? And then I went back and finished university. Lived out my lifelong dream to travel the world, where I took a year out after university and traveled the world, and would truly encourage anyone to do, because I don't think you get a chance like that many times in life to just take that proper stop break. But all that did again was confirm my beliefs at that time that I want to be in a commercial, customer-centric business. I want to be helping people, solving problems and getting involved in the market. So I specifically set out to find a career in that. I was still somewhat programmed with the mindset of must get on a graduate training scheme, must then work hard, must get promoted and this and that and jump up the career ladder. But I found a Swiss, still a family business, but a Swiss multinational called Hilti. So there's 30,000 employees and 5 billion in terms of revenues, a big outfit, but very much a family sort of entrepreneurial approach. And again, really enjoyed it because it was true to me. It was solving problems. It's construction. It's at the heart of it. There's a good amount of maths and physics, which is what I enjoyed. But it was about people. These are buildings designed for people, designed by people, with customers buying things and making decisions about where to spend their money based on people and relationships. So I really enjoyed it. I excelled there. I ended up staying there for 10 years, which I never, ever thought of. And they, fortunate enough, they sponsored me to do my MBA, which is something, again, through school I'd never thought of. Going to business. No, you do engineering and you do the graduate scheme. Did the MBA and it turned the world on its head again. So I think this was the second time in my life where I had a decision to make. And that's where I met a couple of people on the cohort and we were like, well, why are we working really hard with other people for other people's businesses, following their vision and dreams? So, well, let's do it ourselves. What do we really want to do? So we spun out a business shortly after finishing my MBA, actually. We started the business from scratch. 3 of us went into this looking at talent utilization and basically representing people who weren't able to follow the normal career path. So primarily mums who had taken a stopgap from their career, but still had talent and wanted to go back into the workplace. So we founded a business in London on that. And it was an amazing experience. I think the biggest lesson that taught me was that it's really blooming hard starting something from scratch. It's not all, oh, Mr. Zuckerberg, sit down and program something and they have £1 billion. It's like, oh, yeah. So there was a huge amount of work and effort and grind in that. But we got it to productivity and I was hooked. I loved it. The thought of going back to the corporate world after that just really made my skin creep. It's like there's so much good and so much fun you can have with your time. Why spend it doing it on something that's less than ideal that you want to do, really?
So, Chris, I'm hearing you retell the story, and it's quite a journey. You've both been on an incredible journey. But Chris, when you tell the story, it almost sounds, oh, wow, that just sounds like so much fun. What a journey. But we know behind the scenes, there's a lot of emotional stress and emotional kind of ups and downs in making the decision to jump from a very comfortable salaried job to owning your own business. Like you said, it's really hard. I don't think it's harder than what you do on a day-to-day basis. I think what makes it harder is, and this is from my perspective, is that, suddenly the money doesn't automatically get deposited into our account. We actually have to chase after money when we're an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. You're opening yourself up. You're revealing your vulnerabilities. It's like, I've explained it sometimes. You feel like you're on a high wire, on a tightrope. You're exposed. Before, you're in this nice cuddly blanket. It's like, well, here's your health insurance. Here's your pension scheme. Here's your holidays that we pay for. Here's your car. Here's your home. Here's everything. Whereas then it's like, no, if we don't make this work, then what do we do? And I think that ties into back to the core point we spoke about, both of us going for this. This is not a decision that one individual takes at the point in life when you have a family. We have responsibilities and we have commitments, and you've got to have that confidence. And that's why both of us need to make these decisions and go into it. And almost having a bit of a reserve. It's like, right, well, one of us can take a bit of a greater risk if the other one's sort of covering that a bit, but balancing it. But when we first did it, I was just high on life. I'd just finished my MBA. It was all exciting. But it was certainly when it didn't start making profit within the first sort of 2 or 3 months, we were like, oh, what do we do? But we we believed in it, and Alessandra was a great support at that time and helped a lot in terms of giving us the confidence to really go forward and see that through.
Alessandra, let's take it back to your perspective. When you were retelling your story, Chris is right. You kind of made it sound like, yeah, you know, what am I going to do today? Oh, I'm going to uproot my life and just move.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, you know, somebody watching this right now is in the process of uprooting life and going on that first journey abroad, either to university or moving to a different part of the world to take a gap year, or even potentially start working in their home countries. What was that like for you? And what are some of the skills or some of the strengths that a young person really should pay attention to and gain if they want to make it on a journey where they have to leave their comfort of the home country and travel abroad?
I think the most important is it's if you need. I mean, I wanted so much. I wanted very much to live abroad and travel the world, and that's what I did. And it helps a lot with our personal development, personal growth. I think for Chris the same, when he traveled, and you grow and you learn with different cultures and different people. And yes, I've learned a lot. I think you need to be, you need the courage and you need to be open-minded, and you need to be ready. You need to be very friendly to people, like talk to everyone, because everyone that you talk to, you're meeting new people, and these people can help you to, what's going on there, what's going on in this city, that, you know, I can meet other people from these people and maybe get a job, or making contact, networking. Yes, that's the networking really. And then, I think that's it. And I forgot to say that when I was living in London, I also studied an MBA. So I did my MBA as well in international business. And that's why, because I always had this dream of having my own business one day. Yes, that's why we came to Dubai as well.
And I think one of the most incredible parts of traveling abroad, as you said, is about that diversity and gaining cultural diversity. But especially as well, and we're not mentioning it, but I do want to mention the language barriers. So for you going from Brazil, where you were speaking Portuguese, moving to Ireland, where just the accent alone can make English hard to understand. What was that like for you? Did you have to gain a certain confidence in speaking a different language? And how was that received when you made it to the other side?
When I moved from Brazil, my English was not good. So I lived with Irish people, like a couple. And that was really good for me to learn the language. But the most important to learn the language is when you go and you work, like you get some jobs straight away in restaurants, and then that's your daily life, speaking to people, like people that you don't know. And in a restaurant, I had loads of jobs, like part-time jobs. And that's how I gained confidence. And I thought, now I can apply for a job in Qatar. It's like, I feel confident enough, I can get this job. Yes, and it's always about also having this positive outlook in life, that you can do it. If you try, sometimes you have to try 3 times, or I tried 3 times to get this job in Qatar Airways. So it's about commitment and not giving up, really, what you really want.
Of course, that's so great. Okay, let's go back now to the couple. Family venture. What's that like, working and living with each other?
It's interesting. But I mean, it's a family is effectively a family venture in its own right, I think. It's, you've got to click in so many ways as a team, as individuals, with passion, energy, and love for the family. That ties into the work side. I think the other side is as well as understanding our strengths, how we fit together, and what we both do, rather than trying to fall over each other. I suppose, speaking for myself, Alessandra would probably say the same. When we've tried to get too involved in each other's sides of the business, it's not good. It's not healthy. You end up picking up, oh, well, I'd have done it like that. No, well, I would do it like that. No. It's like, okay, let's respect each other's strengths and areas and support each other in doing that, rather than both tripping over each other on the same things, if that makes sense.
And how do you decide when you are going to go into family venture? How do you decide what to do? Now, Alessandra, I know that your field is slightly different to what Chris's was, but how did you decide that would be the thing that you would both get involved in together?
I think we moved. We changed our whole life to be in Dubai. We had, our life in England kind of secure, like safe and with a job, and Chris has this job, and then the lockdown came and we're like, wow, let's live the dream. We always wanted to move to Dubai. We used to come here every year. And then when we came here, it's like, we are together in this, we need to make it happen. We need to be together as a team. And yeah, it's like one life, isn't it? We came here to have this dream together. So that's why that what makes us work together and make this business grow every day. And yes, that's what do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think it's entirely right. I believe it's following the passion and the vision. And I think we talked a bit about it earlier, going through school, and then certainly my own earlier career. I look back on that now with critical eyes as a parent, and I realized I wasn't following my career, my passion. I was following my parents. I was becoming my dad. I did what he did. You go to the corporate and you do that, and then you go on the graduate scheme, bang, bang, bang. And it's only when you stopped that and take the step back that the passion for yourself and your own journey really comes alive. And that's what you can uncover. And that's what Alessandra uncovered very quickly in her life. It's like, well, I'm going to do what I really want. I'm going to travel. And for me, that was the experience of starting the business side. It's the risk. It's stepping away from the security. It's like, ooh, even as a 30-something, I was like, would my parents approve? What would they think? And it's like, well, wow. Who cares? If I'm happy and doing the right thing, then they'll fully support me. Whereas before, I'd been so influenced. And now, as a parent, I'm talking to your students, I would challenge everyone to ask themselves that question. What's driving my decision-making? Is it really what's in my heart? Is it that fire that's going to make us walk through walls? Are we going to smash through this? I'm driven and motivated. I'm all in. Or is it a feeling of needing to comply and fit into society and do what's expected and make our parents happy, or do what we think will make them happy? Because ultimately, and again, speaking from my side, and I believe the side of most parents, what you don't realize as a child is all your parents really want is for you to be truly happy. And to do that involves you understanding what that means to you and then following your heart, not following what you think other people want to do. And that's sort of strung true in now where we are in Dubai. It's like we're following our hearts with this business. It's not, oh no, here's another call, we've got to do some work. Oh, this is a pain in the neck, I need to work late. It's like, oh, we've got an opportunity, let's work on this, let's do that. It's a completely different outlook on life and a different lifestyle. And as a son, I know my parents are incredibly proud of what we're doing, and I know Alessandra's parents are very proud of her. But as a father, it's part of the journey as well. I think both of us aim to lead by example for our children. So they come up and it's like, no, I don't need to conform to what others expect. I want to follow my heart. I want to craft the life that I truly desire and go out there and love it every day.
Again, I'm going to say, Chris, you make it sound really easy. And I agree that we want our children to be happy. And I agree that parents really at the core, that's That's what we want. We want our children to be happy and to be enjoying their life. But at the same time, we also want them to be financially independent and be able to, cover the basic needs so that they can find fulfillment. Now, let's talk about.
Could you just add on that? Just one bit on that in terms of the easy side. I think it sounds easy to a degree because it's exciting. It's fun. It's truly following your heart and your passion. But it is, I suppose I might have overlooked a bit. It is scary. It is daunting. But it is also looking at things with a critique, with a commercial mind. It's not just the easy fun. It is bloody hard, but it's hard for the right reason. It's hard because you're following your dream. But there is also that context. So Alessandra and I always sort of critique our ideas and thoughts against the sort of dimension of, one, is it something we can really do well? Is it something aligned to our passions and our interests? Two, do we enjoy it? Is this going to be fun? But the third in the sort of Venn diagram is this commercially viable? Can we provide the safety that we spoke about as parents? We owe it to our children. We owe it to ourselves. But that safety from this, I would personally love to go off and be mountain biking and snowboarding every day. But that doesn't tick that third box. It's not commercially viable as a business. It has to be something that we can really turn in, that will provide us the opportunities to live the life we want. And I was thinking about this before we started. As a student looking back, that I believe came from my experience at Xerox. And Alessandra spoke about traveling, meeting people, networking. I think that as a student starts to really materialize the more you talk to people about it. It's using opportunity, even family get-togethers. Do you really know what that crazy uncle who sits in the corner do, or your neighbor? What's their career? How did they get into it? What do they love about it? What advice would they get? And it's only through talking to others and sharing those experiences that you get that commercial outlook. It's like, yeah, I want to have fun. I want to go snowboarding, mountain biking, diving with sharks, etc. But it's got to be commercially viable. And that's a key part to the whole side, if that makes sense.
It does. So you're talking about really looking at the market, your target market, and is it commercially viable? Meaning, will there be somebody or groups of people that will want to purchase my product or my service? So let's talk about what you guys do. We haven't really called it what it is. So what is the venture that you're both working on together?
Well, there's two sides of it, really. Alessandra can talk more about the sort of supporting and coaching side, but there's very much two sides to the business, but both founded around our passion to really make a difference. So myself, coming from construction and property and loving sports, have got into the prop tech space. So innovation in property, and latterly around air quality. Air quality is one of the greatest threats to humanity. And as most great inventions and ideas come from solving problems, so how can we address that? So as following the model we spoke about, really, I started networking in that space. Alessandra started hanging around us in London a bit, getting involved in people who were really looking at the well-being of the built environment, and started working in that space to get a bit of a background for a couple of startups that we knew. That then provided the fulcrum ultimately to move over here and start the ventures over here that we're looking at. So one's, without getting into the details, of nanotechnology and building surfaces to help purify the air, and the other's bringing clean air to the masses through a communication platform, through rating it and making it visual so that everybody really understands the impact on their health. And I think that second part is the bit that Alessandra is really getting involved in, that's turned into a whole lot more than just air quality.
So Alessandra, you're also working as a coach and working with the youth as well.
Yes, I'm thinking, I'm just in the start phase of thinking of this startup for myself. It's the same value that we share. It's about, helping, empowering people and empowering the world, really, to have a positive impact in the world. Like, how can we help people and help? So we just thinking of some projects that we can have in related, working with schools and working with retreats about, how can we in life and business, like, let's say, how do you align your professional success with your personal happiness, something related to that. So that we would start with workshops. So yes, that's what
that ties into the work you've undertaken as well with Sonus. I think you had Paul Gill on a while ago. And Alessandra's been working closely with him on that.
So for everyone watching this right now, sorry, Alessandra, just to put it into context, we interviewed Paul Gill. He is based in Cambodia and is working with the youth coming out to Cambodia and helping to find solutions for some of the issues they're facing. What do you do with Paul, Alessandra? How does what you do relate to what Paul is doing in Cambodia?
So yes, Paul, we met Paul. I met Paul through Chris. He's a very good friend, and we've been working together. And we've been to Cambodia, to the village, many years ago. And it's amazing the work he does, helping these entrepreneurs in Cambodia that had nothing, and he helps them to build a business and selling, what the scarves and all what they do there to the world. It's amazing. So I've been trying to get some contacts here for them, like business development, really, in like having this connection. So with the Meaningful, which is my future idea. So it's about, having all these companies that has a meaning, like Sonus started with a meaning that he wanted to help these people. Because he read a book and he went on a trip to Brazil and changed his outlook in life. So my idea is to start with a blog about, one book, one trip, one experience, and one person that transformed my life. So Gumba would be one of the first someone I would interview about that, how one book and one trip changed your life. And I think that's really powerful. How can someone, he had a very safe job and he changed his life to be there, and like he found his mission. And I think in life, it's okay, our profession is very important, but also when you get older, you realize, you need a mission, you need a meaning, and that's what Meaningful is going to be about.
Love it. I love the name Meaningful, and I agree that at some point in our lives we look back at our careers and ask ourselves, what meaning are we really bringing to the world? And in speaking with young people, what I see most often is they're as young as 15 and they already want to know, what kind of work can I really bring to the world that's going to bring meaning? And I love what you're doing, Alessandra. And I think together as a couple, this is very exciting. In thinking back to some of the things that you talked to us about today, I heard be open to opportunity, don't conform to the status quo, don't let language become a barrier. If you really want something, you'll make it happen and find meaning in your careers. And then I loved, Chris, how you talked about the perspective of the different parts of your journey, from the perspective of being that teenager, thinking about the future career, to then becoming an adult and living the career, completely changing your career path, and then now being a dad, reflecting on the realities of what you want to be offering to your own children. And I think that's something that our fresh graduates won't be able to really understand until they're walking in shoes very similar to yours. But it's always nice to go backwards and kind of show them highlights of what one person's journey can look like. And I think this is the important part of sharing stories like this, is that we help young people to normalize potentially what they may be approaching as they get to certain milestones in their lives. And if we don't start to tell them what these things can look like. When they do approach those milestones, sometimes it feels really challenging and they can feel very alone in that journey. So thank you for your honesty. Both of you, thank you for your honesty and transparency and being open to sharing the journey. But before we say goodbye, I need to know behind the scenes, when you guys are working with each other, and I think this is something that young people, I really want them to understand, because the dream is, you know, I'm gonna open my own business and I'm gonna do what I love and love what I do, and no one's gonna stop me from doing that. But there is the reality. So behind the scenes, when no one's watching, what's it really like to be a founder and entrepreneur?
Well, do you want to go first, Alessandra?
It's I think what makes it more crazy is like, it's because we have a 2-year-old that doesn't sleep also. So it's like he comes to our bed at like midnight and then sleep with us, and it's just we wake up and we are tired, and it's just it's part of the fun, and it's part of what make us, you know, do what we are doing. Like we're trying to be a better person each day because of them, because of our children. But yes, it's crazy, and Chris is also training a lot. Don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that. He's doing his fitness training, and it's a lot. But we'll manage. We manage.
To the passion and the purpose that we're going for. I mean, I'm doing trials for Team GB at the moment, which is extreme and challenging as well. But it's again a decision we took as a team together. And I think we have a little saying: if being tired is the biggest challenge and biggest frustration we have in life, then we're some of the luckiest people on earth. There's many people out there. We have 2 eyes, 2 ears. We have a shelter. We have food on the table. We have a world of opportunities to go and get. And as long as we truly believe in that and live our lives like that, then we get through it. We've got to celebrate the fun. Once a month, we have at least a hug. We say hello to each other at least once a day, and we support each other as much as we can. And I think that's key to it. It's being aligned on what we're trying to achieve in life.
Wake up at 4 a.m. sometimes, yes.
I love it. I love the reality. I love the honesty of this conversation. Thank you so much. I can go on and on and on and ask you so many things. It's been great having you both here and sharing us some of the insights of the realities of the career journeys that you've both lived and how they've kind of merged together as a couple. Thank you for being here.
If I could leave one last comment. Someone told me a long time ago, if you ask for opportunities, you get advice. Whereas if you ask for advice, you get opportunities. And I think there's several banded around on social media this year where someone's written to the CEO of Google and they've actually responded. I know in all the roles, the leadership roles I've had, whenever anyone gets in touch on LinkedIn or however, they instantly stand out from the crowd. And you never look at it and go, oh, here's a graduate, or here's a student, or here's a 5-year-old boy or girl wanting to learn something, and say, no, I haven't got time with that. People blasting you trying to sell things, yeah, right, whatever. So the bit of advice I'd give to all the students is find people that seem to be in the areas you want to be. Get in touch with them. Ask, how are you? Can we have a chat? Have you got one bit of advice you can give me? Get on LinkedIn, get in touch with them. Maybe ask if you can meet for a coffee. There's many startups. We've taken people into our startups who will come in for work experience. Have you got a project I can get involved in? I'll work on the side. I've got a couple of days just to learn a bit. So go out there and start asking people, start talking to people, even if it is that crazy uncle in the corner or your neighbor. But that's by far the best way to learn.
True. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you, Alessandra, for being here. And that brings us to the end of an incredible conversation. Today, we were speaking with Chris and Alessandra Layton, who are both serial entrepreneurs working on some things together and some things slightly different. Today, I'm walking away with a clear understanding of the realities of being an entrepreneur and finding meaning in the work that we do. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time at Desk Careers with our digital spotlights.